Hi there, we have a great show lined up for you on today's Mixed Effects. We'll have a visit from Jean Sullivan, the director of the Memphis Humane Society, and she'll bring along with her a very special guest. But first, we'll talk with and hear from the country vocal group, the Ramblers. So join us for Mixed Effects next.
Hey, wow.
Welcome to Mixed Effects. We're joined now on the show by a member of the Ramblers. Chuck Utterback is here. Thank you for coming to the show.
Well, thanks for having me on.
All right. Well, tell me a little bit about the Ramblers and just the brief history of them.
Okay. The Ramblers met right here at Memphis State back nearly 8 years ago. In the fall of '81, we got together and formed the group in the University Singers here. We were part of the larger ensemble here at Memphis State. And the director kind of helped get us going, and he would feature us at just about all the University Singers concerts. We would do a few country tunes mixed in with the classical tunes and the show tunes.
Now, did you have any instrumentation when you did this?
Sometimes we did, and sometimes we didn't. Usually we just had piano.
Okay, but you're still able to have a country sound. A lot of people associate country music with the guitar or the steel guitar and just the typical instrumentation, but y'all were able to do this just vocally or with a piano?
Yes, we were. We had a piano player at the time that was able to make the piano sound like a full band. Believe it or not.
That's a good trick.
It was really, really good, and it just brought it out, and the director helped us get started in that regard, and then we started doing a lot of recruiting for the university, doing blue carpet receptions. We did that for about 3 years, so that helped get us started.
And that gave you a lot of good experience as well.
Yes, we would travel around West Tennessee to the small towns and put on a reception for juniors and seniors at the high schools. And we would sing a few songs and put a little entertainment on, and the people from the admissions office would talk to the students.
All right, so you guys graduated and got out in the real world and stuck together.
That's right.
How'd that work out?
We all graduated about 4 years ago and decided that we would stick it out and find jobs that would allow us some flexibility to pursue this at night and on the weekends. And it's worked out real well. We feel like we're steadily progressing towards the big time, and hopefully one of these days we'll be able to quit our day jobs and do it full time.
All right, when you do the nighttime shows, where do you usually go? Are you usually in Memphis or do you travel around?
We do travel some. And we are able to take off when we need to. We do mostly shows on the weekends if we have to travel very far. But we have about a 500-mile radius of Memphis that we travel.
All right, have you recorded any albums?
Yes, we have. As a matter of fact, we have 3 albums out, 2 country albums and a gospel album.
Oh, and do you do all of those in your show, all those songs from those albums? Or
yes.
A mixture thereof?
Yes, we do. Plus other songs, but we cover a lot of the material that's on the albums.
So you mix your gospel songs in with your country as well?
We normally in a country show feature a few gospel songs. Yes.
All right. And so when did you start working with a backup band along with your vocal harmonies?
Well, at some point before we graduated, we started hiring musicians to back us up, and so we've had a band, different musicians over the years for about 6 years, and they travel with us to the major country shows that we do. And sometimes we still do shows with just piano, however.
Oh, really?
To cut down on expenses.
Yeah, that helps out some. All right, the music that you do, is it other folks' music, or is it all original, or what?
It's both. We do some copy songs of some of the major acts in country music, Alabama and Exile, Restless Heart, groups like that, and the Statler Brothers and the Oak Ridge Boys. And we do quite a bit of original music. We've all written songs.
I was going to ask you who does the writing for the original stuff, but all of you.
We all have, and then we've got some material from other folks that they've sent our way. So we do a little of both.
Do any of you that are the singers play any instruments as well?
No, we don't. Not, at least not on stage.
Yeah.
We kind of toy with them sometimes in the rehearsal room, but by and large on stage it's just the vocals.
I imagine it helps if you're writing to at least be able to plunk the keys on the piano a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. It does. It does.
All right. What other kinds of shows do you have coming up as far as gigs around town or elsewhere?
We have some big fairs this fall. That's our busiest time of year in the August, September, October during the county fair season. We've got some big fairs in East Tennessee. We'll be at the Appalachian Fair, which is in the Tri-Cities area. It's the big fair up there on August 24th, and we'll be in Crossville, Tennessee at the Cumberland County Fair on the 26th and 27th of August. Those are two major fairs.
Of course, those are a little ways down the road.
A little ways down the road, and we've got some things here and there. I believe we've got a performance up in Jackson, Tennessee for South Central Bell in June, and we've got some upcoming things.
You still do the small kind of gigs for the smaller groups that you used to do?
Yeah, we certainly do. Private parties and things like that. Every chance we get, we're real versatile. We do just about anything that somebody wants.
What's the toughest part about still having to work your normal jobs and keep the band together and work it all so that it comes out okay?
Probably the toughest thing is we need to have a lot more gigs in order to make it, but our jobs that we have kind of limit us as to how many we can do. But if we could get enough gigs, then we could quit our jobs.
Well, what are some of the jobs that are in the group?
Okay, Randy, our tenor singer, works for Concrete Products Company in Jackson. He's the assistant plant manager or the plant manager.
A bigwig, right?
Bigwig there, yes, at Concrete Products. Tim, our lead singer, works for Procter & Gamble Cellulose here in Memphis. And
another bigwig. Right?
Another bigwig, absolutely. And I work for Tusculum College here in Memphis. I'm the program coordinator.
All right, well, we're going to have you do one of your songs, The Ramblers, a country vocal group, and we hope that you guys have good success, and thank you for being on the show.
Well, thank you very much
and now
for having us.
Now we're going to hear The Ramblers.
Chuck, why don't you tell these fine people out here just a little bit about the virtues of cowboy life, all right?
All righty, I sure will. You know, folks...
What I want you to do, son, is to kind of paint a picture about the old Wild West for these folks, all right?
Sure will. You know, folks...
What I want you to do, son, is to kind of take us all back in time, back to the days of Buffalo Bill and Wild Bill Hickman.
Tim.
What?
Why don't you hit the trail? Folks, picture yourself. You're back in the Old West. You've been out there all day long, riding the dusty trail. You've been punching doggies. And you've heard the cattle call.
Ring, ring. Hello? Moo.
Come back with us now to the days of cactus and tumbling tumbleweeds. See them tumbling down, pledging their love to the ground. Lonely but free I'll be found, drifting along with the tumbling tumbleweeds. I'll keep rolling along, deep in my heart is a song. Here on the range I belong, drifting along with the tumbling
tumbleweeds. An old cowpoke went riding out one dark and windy day.
Upon a ridge he rested as he went along his way, when all at once a mighty herd of red-eyed cows he saw, plowing through the ragged sky and up a cloudy draw. Yippee-yi-yay, yippee-yi-oh, those riders in the sky. Yippee-yi-yay, yippee-yi-oh, ghost riders in the sky. Ghost riders in the sky.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, my favorite part of the program, where we feature that famous cowboy singer and songwriter, Cowboy Randy. He wrote that hit song, "Don't Run Through the Screen Door, Grandpa, You Might Strain Yourself." How about it, Randy? What you gonna sing for us tonight?
I'm back in the saddle again, out where a friend is a friend, where the longhorn cattle feed on the lonely Jimson weed. Back in the saddle again, I'm riding the range once more. I'm toting my old 44, where you sleep out every night and the only law is right. Back in the saddle again. Whoopee-tie-hi-oh, rocking to and fro. Back in the saddle again. Whoopee-tie-hi-hey, I go my way. Back in the saddle again. Whoopee-tie-hi-hey, I go my way. Back in the saddle again.
You know, Tim, I get powerful thirsty singing these cowboy songs. Yeah, I tell you what, I'm drier than 40 acres of burning stump, I tell you. How about you, Cowboy Chuck? Boy, that sounded dry. I think you need a little cool water. How about it?
Alrighty. All day I faced a barren waste without the taste of water. Cool water. Water. Old Dan and I, with throats burnt dry and souls that cry for water. Water. Cool water. Clear water. Water. Keep moving, Dan. Don't you listen to him, Dan. He's the devil, not a man. And he spreads the burning sand with water. Water. Dan, can you see that big green tree where the water's running free and it's waiting there for you and me? Ooh, clear water.
Welcome back to Mixed Effects. I'm Cindy Souther. My guest today is Gene Sullivan, who is the Executive Director of the Memphis Humane Society. And you know, they do so much each year to relieve the overpopulation of pets in America and here in Memphis. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Welcome to the show, Ms. Sullivan.
Glad to be here.
What kind of programs are available to help relieve the overpopulation?
Well, we have 3 spay-neuter programs through our own organization. The veterinarians in this city have been very good to us in cooperating in this endeavor. We have a low cost for people that make less than $12,000 a year. Only costs $25 to get your pet spayed. Over $12,000 a year, $30. And then we have a free program for people who are over 65 or who are on welfare, food stamps, problems like that. So really, if you'll call our office, I'm sure we've got something for everyone.
Now, some people are afraid to take their pets into the Humane Society, but it's not the same as the shelter, right?
Well, we don't accept pets that people just bring in there. The only thing we get in our offices are injured animals that we've picked up with the ambulance, or animals we take in cruelty investigations, animals that wouldn't have a chance anywhere else. The animal shelter, the Memphis Animal Shelter, the animal control agency run by our city government that is funded by your tax dollars, takes animals people don't want anymore. They pick up strays running loose on the street, and they have various other animal control programs. The difference between us and the shelter, I think, to be very simple about it, we protect the animals against the people, and the animal shelter protects the people against the animals.
Okay, what is this ambulance service that you were talking about? Tell us a little bit about that.
This is a 24-hour service. If you see an animal injured on the street, if it's 2 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, just call our office. It'll give you an answering service number if it's after hours, and we'll send an ambulance to pick it up, transport it to a clinic. We do rehabilitation work on these animals. If we don't find the owners, then we put them up for adoption, which brings us to something else we do at our place, that's adoption. So we cover it from one end to the other, or we try to. A city of this size, a county of this size, has so many animal problems. You would not realize until you're doing this kind of work that you can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and hardly touch the surface.
Well, how do you go about adopting a pet?
People come into our office. We try to be very careful about where our pets go. We spend a lot of money in rehabilitating them, and we sure don't want them to go back into what they were in the first place before they came to us. Come into our office, fill out an interview sheet. If we have something that you just can't live without, then we'll talk to you about it, and if we think you're going to make a good home, the adoption fee is $25. Your animal will have had its first shots, first worming. It will have been spayed or neutered. If it's a dog, it's had a heartworm check. If it's a cat, it's had a leukemia check. That's quite a bargain.
Definitely. Well, who doctors the pets? Do you have your own veterinary?
No, we
clinic?
don't. We use different veterinarians in the city. And again, we're very fortunate in Memphis that the veterinary community is so very cooperative with us.
Well, with summer coming on, there's always a problem with dogs getting overheated. And you were talking about this earlier. This is a big problem, isn't it?
It is. In the summertime, I think of all the things I worry about, that one is probably the biggest. People, in very good faith, they think they're doing their pet a favor by saying, come on, Rover, we're getting the car, we're going to go to the store. And they get out and shut the door and go in the store, and Rover's left in the car. In just a matter of a very few minutes, the heat can cause severe brain damage or even death to a dog. So many people just don't realize that this can happen. If you see an animal locked in a car that appears to be in distress, if you'll give us a call at the office, we'll send an ambulance out and try to get something done about it as quickly as possible. Have a lot of problem during the summer at Graceland with that. Visitors going through, and they get there and they say, oh my goodness, we want to see Elvis's house, but what are we going to do with the dog? And they'll shut the door and roll the windows up and just leave them cracked a little bit, and lots of times by the time we get there, the dog's already unconscious.
And there's
Bad situation.
a little card here that you have available at the Humane Society that you can pick up and put on someone's car. And
We'd
it
be
says here on
glad
the
to.
back that, say, on an 85-degree day with the window slightly cracked, it still gets up to 102 degrees inside in just a matter of 10 minutes.
And the dog can't sweat. They don't have sweat glands. They don't sweat like we do. The only way they relieve themselves is the panting and with the moisture coming out the tongue. So it's very, very dangerous. Just leave him at home where it's cool.
It's dangerous in the summer and in winter as well. What about outside temperatures?
Not bad in the car in the winter, and
but
of course being very
outside
careful.
dogs?
Yeah, be careful with your dog. If it gets down in the teens, the best thing to do is bring him inside. By all means, at least provide him with a good dog house that has some insulation.
Well, how do you go about finding the unwanted dogs or the dogs that have been hurt or that are not cared for? How do you go about investigating a case?
Well, we have two different kinds of things that happen at our office. We get a call and say a dog is injured on the street and we send the ambulance. Or we get a call from usually a neighbor saying we have a cruelty complaint. We have a full-time cruelty investigator. He goes out and does the cruelty investigations. Our first objective is education. That's the only thing that's going to solve this problem. And lots of times it's a shame, but lots of times you find people never even thought about the problems that they are incurring upon their pet. It's just neglect. It's lack of being sensitive to the animal's needs. People who go off to work at 8 o'clock in the morning and don't come back until 6 at night and never think that their pet will need water through the day. In the summer, I've found animals dead on the end of their chains just simply from not having any water. That's useless.
And you can find out about this through neighbors.
People calling in
and
and giving cruelty complaints.
Well, dogs can sense things when something is wrong, if their owner is not being sensitive or if they're not taking care. And these dogs that wander off, or do you know, if someone calls and says there's a dog in our neighborhood that doesn't belong to anyone, can you go get those?
No, that's the animal shelter's
Right.
responsibility. That's a stray dog, and there's a leash law in the city. So every dog is to be confined in your yard or on a leash. So they're upholding the law in the city, and they are the legal responsible party for
And
things like that.
It's even better if they have an ID tag so that you can find them again.
ID tags, tattoos. I had a situation last week that was real interesting. A lady lost her little Laza. Another lady had lost her little Laza about 9 months ago in the same neighborhood. She found the first lady's little Laza and was convinced it was hers. It took a week before we got the dog back to its rightful owner. If a tattoo had been in the ear or inside the hip, that nobody would have had to go through that aggravation and that suffering.
I'm sure that all of these programs and the medical attention and the ambulance service, they all take a lot of money. Where are your funds coming from, and how much does it cost to run a program?
Our budget now is over $250,000 a year. And every penny of that, every penny comes from people who donate money to us. We don't get any tax money, we don't get any federal funding, only donations.
What about people who want to volunteer for the programs?
Always a need for volunteers, answering phones, walking dogs, brushing cats, all kinds of fundraising programs. So we can use anybody that's got 2 hours to give.
And how long does a puppy like this one that you brought today, how long will she stay there?
Well,
What happens?
this particular puppy's just 6 weeks old, and we have to wait until they're 10 weeks old to alter them. So she'll be here at least 4 weeks.
What about older dogs that,
Older
say
dogs are altered after we hold them 3 days for an owner search. But if the owner's not found, then we alter them, put them up for adoption, unless their injuries necessitate them staying longer.
Okay, well that's great, and people can adopt puppies.
And kittens, and
All kinds of animals.
we also have a giveaway file. If you don't find something in the building you like, you might find something. Private people call in and list animals they have to give away.
Oh, fantastic. And you're located at 2238 Central.
Right.
And again, if you want to volunteer or go by and take a look and see if you might want to adopt a pet, that's where you need to go. That address again is 2238 Central. Thank you, Ms. Sullivan, for joining us.
Thank you for
thank you.
asking.
We'll see you again on Mixed Effects.
Wait, stop the credits. Cindy, we're not going to get to see them again because this is the last show. The semester is over, and Mixed Effects, this is it. This is the last Mixed Effects. We've had a great time doing it, and we've got so many people to thank. I'm going to sit down to be able to do it because, my legs will get tired from standing up so much. But we want to first thank Dean Richard Ranta, the Dean of the College of Communication and Fine Arts, for all of his support in this very first endeavor of this kind. From the department, Dr. John Bakke, who's chairman of the Theater and Communication Arts Department of the College of Communication and Fine Arts, and Michael Dempsey for this great set design. It worked so well, it was so original, versatile. It stayed in one place the whole semester, and we want to thank the TV1 class, by the way, for their ability to be flexible about that and not have to use this space all semester, but we got around it. Gary Phillips for the great music that you heard each week at the beginning of the show during the opening montage. And Gary, great music, great job all the way around. Good camera work, too. And Eddie Arnold and Barry Less, our engineers. Eddie had a great country music career, but you better stick with the engineering. And Barry, stick with radio. Cindy Souther and Errol Johnson, my co-hosts, they both did a wonderful job, and if it weren't for them, I would have had to be here for every segment, and that would have been a lot. Jim Shells was one of our special guest hosts. He did a great job interviewing Elmo from Elmo in the Shades. Kay Brooksbank did a wonderful story piece. I want to thank her for telling that. Also want to thank the mayors of Memphis and Shelby County, Dick Hackett and Bill Morris, for all their support throughout the semester. We want to thank the collective mothers and fathers of all the people involved with the show, because if they hadn't done what they did, we wouldn't be here. I want to thank the audience for the show. Mom, thanks for watching every week. And, there's this, hey, Mary.
Hey.
I guess, well, it's the end of the semester, the end of the show. They got to do a little cleaning up here, but before they finish that, I want to have some more people to thank. I want to thank, got to thank Valerie Baines. Yeah,
Bye-bye. It's the end of the show, Sonny.
But I got to thank Valerie Baines. Valerie Baines,
The doctor told me sleeping alone ain't no good for my heart. If I don't do what he tells me to, it just might break me apart. I'm under doctor's orders. I really ought to be in bed. I'm under doctor's orders. Whoa, that's what my doctor said. The doctor told me, find you a girl who'll stay with you all night. You're gonna be fine, but it's gonna take time and a whole lot of holding you tight. I'm under doctor's orders. I really ought to be in bed. I'm under doctor's orders.